The following program is presented in its original form. It may contain some content that does not reflect Hirotaku or WRW Nihon's corporate views and may not be suitable for all viewers. WRW characters are online nerds with entitlement issues and believes that they have a say in anything produced by their worship. You can block access to all programs and others like it using the parental controls in your WRW accounts. Wait a minute, we don't have those.
This is WRW We Rule Wrestling, a wrestling podcast on WRW Nihon in association with Hirotaku Productions. I am one of your awesome hosts, the Cripple of Personality, Wheelchair 21, the Common Roller, and joining me as always is the not-so-lovable Visible Ninja Metal Symphony.
And not sounding like a zombie because I'm fully awake and hopped up on yogurt.
Wait, yogurt hops you up?
Yep.
Wow, that's a cool kind of caffeine rush, eh?
Oh yeah. Liberté dark cherries.
I can see now how. There's possibly quite a bit of sugar in that.
Okay.
Probably quite a bit of sugar. Well, anyways, on today's show, this is technically our not-so-live show, mixed in with a recap show of Payback. Payback is the most recent pay-per-view, as it has aired tonight, and we're going to take a look at what caused Payback to happen, and the events that transpired at said pay-per-view. First off, the night after Extreme Rules, we had pretty much an awesome Raw because they announced that the King of the Ring would be back. As such, the King of the Ring would finish up the following night on its own little free preview on the network. In our opening rounds, we saw Dolph Ziggler versus Bad News Barrett, R-Truth versus Stardust, Ambrose versus Sheamus, and Neville versus Harper. Now, Wade Barrett would defeat Dolph Ziggler in the first round via pinfall, as would R-Truth with Stardust. Sheamus would go in via disqualification, and Neville would win against Harper via pinfall. Now, also on this awesome Raw, we saw the inklings of, well, Bray Wyatt's next target, which was none other than Ryback. And ironically, to set up this match, there was a kind of a subtle but hidden joke where Ryback brutally destroyed Bo Dallas, who is Bray Wyatt's real-life brother. So they thought that would be the perfect kind of catalyst to hint the rivalry was coming at full force and full blast. Now, the night afterwards, as I stated, was the full-on King of the Ring finals, where Neville took on Sheamus in the opening bout and actually defeated Sheamus via pinfall, which was an astounding match, probably the highlight of the entire free preview. Then Dolph Ziggler attacked Sheamus because Sheamus kind of got a little rowdy that Neville actually beat him and slightly, sprained one of Neville's shoulders, I believe. The following match was R-Truth versus Bad News Barrett. Bad News Barrett actually defeated R-Truth easily, but at one point it did look like it could have gone Truth's way. Neville and Barrett closed out the night to decide who would be the King of the Ring, and oddly enough, the man that gravity forgot, the new and upcoming Neville, actually lost, which a lot of people thought this was his King of the Ring, like they just brought it back just to give him a push, a bigger push than it already was, and Barrett became our king, and it was actually quite shocking, but yet well approved by the IWC. So, thus far, Visible Ninja, let's talk about King of the Ring.
Well, it's great that King of the Ring was definitely brought back. It was a surprise, but a pleasant one at that. And I'm kind of hoping that they keep it going, kind of a yearly thing now that we're starting to get these network-only pay-per-view. Well, they're not pay-per-views anymore. Let's just call them specials, because that's what they're becoming since, you pay for your network and you get them every month. Apparently sometimes 2 or more a month, as it appears to be the case nowadays, since we're getting Elimination Chamber at the end of May, which is going to be awesome. King of the Ring this year was pretty great. Of course, Barrett won it, and he has assumed the title of King Barrett, not unlike a certain King Booker did back in the day. And I hope Barrett has a very reign, since he is that pompous kind of asshole who is going to run this thing for all it's worth.
Now, would you agree with me that you did think they put a lot of stock in Neville, and
Neville was able
to win?
Yeah, Neville was able to take down Sheamus, which even with the newly, the newly resurgent heel Sheamus, isn't it is not an easy feat, and it was good to see Neville getting that, almost like that cred. Of course, he was destroyed, unfortunately, in the end, but he gave Barrett a good run for his money, though.
I will have to also comment on the best part was when Barrett hit that freaking bullhammer out of nowhere. Like, Neville flew halfway across the ring just from that shot.
Well, he is a speedster, so he's kind of a fragile speedster in that regard, so.
I know, that was probably the highlight, as well as Barrett's coronation. I really enjoyed that nonetheless. I thought it was great, especially with the added pyro.
Complete now with a new Titantron graphic, so since he is now King Barrett.
Yeah. But I gotta say, I like how they used Bo Dallas, though, to hype up that Bray Wyatt Ryback rivalry we'll be talking about a little bit later in the show. Now, ironically, NXT didn't have anything to do with Payback, but yet there will be a show that we will talk about later this week, which is NXT Uncontrollable. And what all led to this was Sami Zayn is finally back in NXT, or so we thought, as now he has an injury, and I believe he may or may not be able to compete at the event this week, but Zayn and Owens started going at each other about how they have to have the rematch and how it's going to happen for the title, and that there's no ands, ifs, or buts. But Alex Riley also wants to get involved because he isn't done with Owens. Thus, Regal says, well, Riley and Zayn can have a match tonight, and if Zayn somehow actually was to get injured or could not compete, Riley would take his place at the pay-per-view. Now, also, after her astonishing debut, Dana Brooks took on Bayley and actually beat Bayley because Dana Brooks is, the hot shit on campus when it comes to who's the newest diva. Also, William Regal announced that at TakeOver, a number one contendership match would happen. A triple threat between Tyler Breeze, Hideo Itami, and Finn Balor. But also, Hideo Itami suffered an injury and now may be unable to compete at said pay-per-view, meaning there is a empty spot for a possible, new signed talent. Visible Ninja, should we spoil it now who that new signed talent could be?
Most people in the know are going to know already. And let's just say, it's one of the most famous Samoan wrestlers out there who's not tied to a certain very, very long extended family.
It's none other than the great Samoa Joe.
Wow.
Yes.
Godzilla himself.
Kill him. Pretty much. But, with this NXT, it really paved the road going into this new special, this NXT pay-per-view in a sense. And I gotta say, I look forward to seeing this triple threat match if it happens, or what's actually gonna happen. It doesn't matter who is, if one man's taken out and someone's put in, it's still gonna be a great triple threat with who's still in the match with Breeze and Balor. The main event, I don't know what's gonna happen now, especially due to the injury. Especially because I know for a fact Sami Zayn has not been seen at any live events, so that does mean he probably could be gone whatsoever. Other than that, all I know is we have a good NXT pay-per-view coming up later this week that we'll have to be talking about. And we'll keep talking about, how it flourished through the past month or so. As for SmackDown actually showcased a lot of what didn't get featured on Monday Night Raw, like the new Damian Sandow, who, let's just say he's gotten into it with Axelmania. Yes, him and Curtis Axel are going back and forth, and that's now causing for a weird transpire of them becoming a tag team, which is kind of creepy and a joke at the same time. Match 3, Ryback took on, Luke Harper. And after he defeats Luke Harper, Brett struck, which kind of means the Wyatt family may be coming back at full force. Because even later on, the following week, Eric Rowan came out to help Luke Harper when he fought Fandango, which led to Eric Rowan also destroying Fandango the week after. But also on the SmackDown, we saw New Day versus Calgary Swiss in the rematch, which Calgary Swiss won via DQ, permitting them to have a 2 out of 3 falls match at the Payback pay-per-view. So, with that, Visible Ninja, how do you like what's going on with this whole thing with Sandow and Axel, where it eventually led to them becoming the Mega Powers.
The new Mega Powers, brother.
Because this all led out to them getting into an incident where they kind of mocked Hogan and Hogan and Macho Man, and the Ascension got involved, and then they started brawling about.
I'm glad you corrected yourself, because I was about ready to hit you.
Yeah, I should have hit myself.
Well, they're definitely trying to play up the whole Mega Powers thing, just like the original Mega Powers. How they were, the two most, unifying and most unstoppable forces in wrestling in the late 80s. Which, unfortunately led to them exploding a little more than a year after they formed. And all over a woman. And I will laugh my ass off if they do the exact same thing to the new Mega Powers, because there's a lot of stock in there. I mean, people love Macho Mizdow. Like, I don't know why. Mandow. Macho Mandow, sorry. My mistake. But for some reason, the crowd is just eating up that gimmick. Not really so the Axelmania gimmick. As we would learn later, he's actually coming out to Hogan's music now. So the Axel side isn't really so hot, but the Sandow side is just freaking flaming. And whatever they do with it, it can only lead to possibly good things as long as they don't screw it up. Now we just need a Miss Elizabeth stand-in to complete the trifecta.
And what was Miss Elizabeth? Dirty blonde, brunette, redhead? I forget. She was almost a brunette, but also dyed her hair red at one point, I believe, right?
I guess.
Which can mean we could end up getting Ava Marie.
Hey, I don't care if it is Ava Marie, as long as we get some kind of Miss Elizabeth XP in there that will eventually lead to the destruction of the Mega Powers in some spectacular way at some pay-per-view. It'll be worth it.
This would be good if Summer Rae was still with us, with Mandow then.
It would, but...
Alright, and also with the whole Wyatt family thing, the whole thing with, Bray looking out for Harper, but Eric looking out for Harper, and Harper looking out for Eric. What do you think about this? Do you think, the family's going to come back together now after Payback?
Well,
come back together Elimination Chamber?
Well, there's definitely been rumors of Bray turning face for some time now. And it appears that the former members of the Wyatt family are going to unite as faces now as well, since obviously Luke Harper is obviously turned face. So it's going to come down to an interesting where you might see, the Wyatt family reunited, though maybe, like we've been talking about, as a face faction. And they could be, a very powerful face faction, even though they could still have the weird, cultish kind of thing going, but they could probably make it work.
Do you think, though, they're making this face faction to combat the New Day, who have now obviously turned heel because the crowd couldn't get over with the crowd? The crowd isn't accepting of the whole New Day factor, and they wanted the whole Nation of Domination.
I was going to say, honestly, I think they should have just ran with that angle. I mean, it might not fly in this day and age, since, it was very racially charged and motivated. Except for, Owen Hart, since he was their token white.
Yeah, and look where that got him.
Let's not talk about that. I know the fans would have preferred if they went the Nation of Domination route, but I understand why they didn't. Because
especially with hostility.
Well, yeah, it might have been seen in poor taste, especially nowadays with all the problems we've got between certain colored communities and the local police forces. So I can kind of understand why they're going with the whole evangelical praise the Lord kind of thing. But then turning I'm still laughing that they're able to keep up the same energy and the same fervent promos as heels now. Because now they're starting to resort to dirty tricks to hang on to the titles, which is pretty hilarious considering their gimmick.
But don't you know all you need to do is believe? Oh my god. I just realized something. Bo Dallas is their Owen Hart.
He'll become their token white.
Yes.
We can only hope.
I will pay WWE to do that. But I could see, New Day, the Preachers versus the Cult versus the Preachers. I mean, everyone was already over on the Wyatt family, especially when they went in against Cena. Everyone loved the Wyatt family. Who didn't cheer the Wyatt family? See? So it works. It's really great. I feel like because they were setting up that, the return of the family, it kind of, at times seemed to overcast the actual rivalry that was going on with Bray and Ryback,
Yeah.
Because, even though Bray was giving the mouthpiece of the promo, it kind of just, made you stop and forget what this thing was all leading to. We thought it was the family. It was actually just Ryback. The Ryback rather than the family. So it's kind of confusing, kind of hectic. So, I mean, these storylines kind of got pushed, under the rug, under the carpet, and it can show when you watch the pay-per-view how the matches turned out. Because, when you look at everything, the main thing here that they were really, really hyping was that fatal four-way for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Seth Rollins defending against Randy Orton, Roman Reigns, and Dean Ambrose, where once that match was made, all hell had been breaking loose these past couple of weeks. There have been brawls. I mean, Ambrose literally put one of the guys through a table. Kane's been getting involved. It's just been all-out war, especially when you had that brawl on Monday where Dean Ambrose was the last man standing. His home crowd was cheering the hell out of him. And then on SmackDown, him and Roman kind of, just stared each other down, shook each other's hands, and then, passed the belt back to each other saying, hey, this could be ours this weekend. Don't screw me, don't screw you, yada, 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 bullcrap. And I feel like the match has been well hyped up until now. The overall match has been hyped well. What has been your thoughts on the main event?
Other than the fact that we're probably lingering a little too long on these one subject, I thought pretty much in line with what you said. Ultimately, they're definitely hyping it up, and hopefully it pays off. But we kind of already know the answer to that. But yeah, it kind of did, kind of didn't. But you know what? What can you do? Nobody's happy these days.
I mean, I think the hype really paid off, and it really proved when you see the match. The match is great, nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
But let's get on with the actual card. You got it from here, my friend. Tell us what happened.
All right.
What our matches are.
Turbo
We'll
mode.
go from there. All right, then.
All right, first and foremost, during the pre-show, we had R-Truth versus Stardust. It was actually a pretty rock and rolling one with R-Truth almost getting it a couple times. Stardust was a bit of a sticky BS, though. But in the end, R-Truth is able to rock and roll it to the win, because what's up? We also learned that Steve Austin will be interviewing Paul Heyman on the network, so that's going to be awesome. Next up, we have the Ascension versus the Mega Powers. And this was actually, I was expecting this, because it was essentially the closest we're going to get to the Mega Powers fighting the Road Warriors in this day and age. Unfortunately, the Ascension actually managed to kick the Mega Powers' lily asses. Not even the power of Macho Man or Axelmania was able to hold up. And the Ascension walked away with, I think, their first win since they came up to the main card. Which is actually quite a very sad thing indeed. Next up, first on the main card, we have Sheamus versus Ziggler in a revenge for the Kiss Me Arse debacle. Ziggles, once again, was actually in top 4, but Sheamus, he just could not be beat. And Sheamus pretty much gets his bro kicked to the head for the win. Hopefully it didn't cause another concussion because, that's kind of prone when it comes to Ziggles. Next up, we had Calgary 6, a.k.a. Kid Cesaro, versus A New Day in the best 2 out of 3 falls match for the WWE Tag Team titles. And once again, A New Day proves that they're not completely incompetent, though when it comes to pure talent, yes, Calgary Swiss definitely has the edge. But, yeah, let's just say that, once again, New Day's up to its old tricks, and thanks to a bit of a fake-out, they're able to get the pinfall and retain their titles. Needless to say, Cesaro and Kid are kind of pissed about that, and you know what? I do not blame them one bit. Except we had Ryback versus Bray Wyatt. And, yeah, Ryback kind of put up a good fight, but in the end, the Destroyer of Worlds was able to defeat the big guy, and apparently caused him a broken rib, as some reports have come out. Whew. Obviously, I hope Ryback heals up, because I know how hurt a broken rib can be. And it is not pretty, trust me. Next up, we got one of the marquee matches of the night. It's John Cena versus Rusev in an I Quit match. And this match just kept going and going. I mean, Rusev and Cena were just destroying each other. I was practically expecting them to go fighting up into the stands at some point. They spilled out of the ring, into timekeeper's area, into the announcer's area. They pretty much went everywhere in the main arena base there. But in the end, neither man would give ground, and eventually we wound up getting shots to the stairs up in the ring. But in the end, Rusev was put into quite a horrible predicament where he just could not break out. And after belting out a bunch of stuff in Russian, because hey, I don't speak Russian, Lana actually conceded for Rusev. And despite the fact Rusev making sure that Lana basically stay out of it, because they're still playing up the whole jealous Russian kind of thing. And Rusev, of course, had a new medal since his old one was stolen last night at a live event in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Oh, man, that was great. Cena, though, once again proved that he is, the champ for a reason. And, of course, we're going to be getting more open challenge stuff on Raw. So
because, like the gold of Sami Zayn and Neville we had the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. Anyways, next up was the Marked Divas match for the evening, which was the Bella Twins versus Naomi and Tamina Snuka. Which is funny, because, Naomi's still using her horrible new entrance music, and it is just god-awful. I know when they turned heel, they wanted to give her a new theme, but, yeah, having her sing it and have it be that bad, just no. I'd rather them stay with Funk being on a roll. Or, God forbid, use Tamina's music. Yeah. But anyways, Naomi actually...
What, you don't like being amazing? I'm amazing. I'm amazing.
Anyways, Naomi proved that her rear view is probably one of her better moves, not to mention the fact she actually has really grown when it comes to wrestling. So props to Naomi on actually training up and getting quite good. Not to mention Tamina obviously has some built-in skills there, of course, being the daughter of Superfly. And in the end, they're actually able to take down the Bellas. Unfortunately, once again, this wasn't a match with the title at stake, but let's just say Naomi and Tamina seem to be a heel duo to be reckoned with, so watch out. We got King Barrett versus Neville, and once again, we got a pretty good replay of the King of the Ring finales here. And yeah, this was just a superb match. And in the end, Neville actually won via countout because he just took Barrett to the mattresses and just freaking gravitied the shit out of him. Unfortunately, Neville wasn't entirely pleased with his win since it was via countout, which is one of, the most wimpiest ways to win.
And the fact that, Barrett tried to hit him with the bull hammer afterwards.
Well, yeah, but then again, this is Barrett we're talking about. It's kind of to be expected. But in the end, we come to our main event, the Fatal 4-Way for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, with Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns versus Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins. And this match just got off to a fiery start. Orton, Reigns, just fists were flying everywhere, and of course eventually it spills out of the ring, with the Shield brothers of Ambrose and Reigns reuniting to essentially put Rollins and later Kane, who of course came in to interfere, to the cleaners, giving them both some aided power bombs right to the announce table. Not once, not twice,
don't forget
but thrice.
That all happened after the Shield reunited for a triple power bomb.
Just like good old times. But then Seth got one for himself. And then, then you got Kane on top of him, and then you got Kane on top of him again.
And then that's when the table finally broke.
Yeah, and then the table just gave up the ghost and collapsed, but then the two Shield brothers realized, it's you and me.
Only one.
And truly, there could be only one.
Until Randy Orton
and of course, yeah, and Orton just was laying out the RKOs left, right, and center. He even tried the second rope DDT on Rollins, but it didn't quite take. But in the end, of course, Rollins, being the slippery snake he is able actually to grab Orton and hit him with the pedigree after reversing out of the RKO, which is kind of nice. And, of course, Rollins walks away as the title holder yet again, going into Elimination Chamber at the end of this month, but the next main event is going to be Money in the Bank.
Yeah, Visible Ninja. Let's talk about our pre-show matches, all right? Let's talk about Stardust, R-Truth, and the Med Powers versus the Ascension.
Yeah. Well, like I said, R-Truth Stardust wasn't a bad match. I mean, R-Truth definitely still got it. Excuse me. Mr. Sinister Stardust there starting to lose a bit of steam, I think. I mean, he kind of hit it out of the gate there at Mania, but Stardust has done far better in the past. Like, especially when he's teaming up with Goldust. And Stardust just isn't cutting it as a solo act, if you get my drift.
Well, he isn't Goldust.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Well, with Goldust, obviously he has some synergy because they're brothers. But when it comes to standalone, I just really think that he should just go back to being Cody Rhodes.
Because Cody Rhodes is a better character.
And apparently, according to Stardust, Cody Rhodes died in 2013. So
yeah,
I'm sure Eden would like to know that. So
a terrible smelting accident.
Yeah, I hope somebody told Eden because her being married to him and everything.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, overall, again, decent match. Good to see R-Truth pull out a win.
I felt like this was a match that felt like a normal, like, a heat going into a pay-per-view. You remember when we used to have a heat on Sunday nights?
I do remember Sunday Night Heat, good sir. I do remember it.
Yeah, that thing out of legend and lore that died in 2002, 2003. Heat.
And it was replaced by the pre-shows.
Yeah, I kind of miss Heat, though, because Heat was kind of good on Sunday nights. They gave you something to, watch before you had to go to bed on a school night when you're, in elementary school.
I don't know, good sir, because I was in middle school, so...
I was in middle... since Heat started, I was, in elementary school. And then, when I was, in middle school, they finally stopped that stuff.
I was in high school.
Then again, you're, 5 years older than me.
There you go. Exactly.
Exactly. But still, the match felt very heatish. And the Ascension versus the Mega Powers, I found it terrible. It was bad. They lost so fast.
Well, yeah, it was kind of bad, because again, like I said, they're really playing it up, especially, like I mentioned before, Axel coming out to Hogan's music. They're really playing up the whole connection to the Mega Powers, which is again why I want them to get a Miss Elizabeth XP.
I hope they do not. I really hope they do not, because I fear it's Ava Marie. There's no other diva on the roster.
Not necessarily, good sir. Not necessarily.
There is no other diva on the roster, though.
Make it Renee or something then. I don't know.
Oh, God. Actually, that's something we would see if it was the web shows. We would see that in the web shows, because that would be funny. That would be freaking funny.
Well, I mean, hell, the IWC is already in love with her, so, if anything, it would just enhance her reputation among them.
Well, duh. She is the new Miss Elizabeth. She is the internet darling. There's nothing that can go wrong unless we found out she was, ended up getting pregnant and married to Dean Ambrose, and some of that stuff may disappear. But, she'd still technically be a darling still. Just fans might die.
Well, no, they would die. They would.
Fans would die. Yes, fans would die.
But anyways, let's move on to the other starter match. Yeah, no, we are on the other starter.
Oh, you mean the real matcharoos?
Oh, that's right, we are on the other match. Yeah. What about Ziggler Samish though? What did you think about that though?
At first I thought it was a pseudo terrible match. I felt like it was vintage back and forth Ziggler versus put name here match. Then it started escalating where it was vintage. Ziggler just fights the hell out of this guy, gets ass-kicked match, which kind of still is vintage Ziggler. Then Sheamus started killing Ziggler. Then the Mohawk cut open Ziggler. He didn't blade. The Mohawk cut him. And Ziggler busted his brains out.
Oh, yeah.
I was honestly shocked. I didn't see it being as brutal as it really was. So
I kind of agree with you. I mean, Yeah, I mean, it started off like Ziggler started off pretty strong, but yeah, when it comes to Sheamus, yeah, you either keep up the gas or you run out very quick, and you get bro kicked in the face a couple times, and Ziggler kind of ran out a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's really that it felt.
He definitely ate some boot there at the end, so.
Like, I gotta say, it felt like a vintage Ziggler match to, like, maybe the last couple of minutes or so. I'm not too sure. Like, it felt very generic to me, and I think that's the problem I have with certain wrestlers are some of their matches, instead of them being them doing what they do best, it's just them repeating themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the best example I can say. But when Ziggler started taking the beating, I was like, well, we're not going to see him for the next week or two.
Yeah, because good old, as much as we love Ziggles, yeah, he's kind of injury prone, so I'm surprised he probably didn't get a concussion just walking into the ring sometimes.
I don't know how he doesn't get a concussion with wearing all that denim and the headband. What he get hit so hard he think he's still in the 90s? What's he trying out for? Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, the reboot?
Oh, Lord, let's not even think about that.
But yeah, no, Ziggler got destroyed. But, then we went to that, Calgary Swiss versus New Day in a 2 out of 3 falls match, which actually was Tyson did a lot of the goddamn work because they took Cesaro out fast. And I wasn't expecting them to really lean on Kid. They really had him show off a lot of the match, whether it just been, Kid versus Big E or Kofi. I mean, this was a real workhorse match. Big E's a great wrestler. Kofi's a great wrestler. Tyson's a good wrestler. But it was just amazing how Tyson did a lot of the work for this match. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And when Cesaro came back to try to help them, reclaim victory, man, that European uppercut that he hit on freaking Kofi, I thought he killed him.
As the case with most Cesaro moves.
I know, right?
Especially with Kofi, because, he, like we said, he's kind of the fragile speedster, so if any wrestler's going to die in the ring, it's going to be a guy like him. Let's face it.
It would be more like Xavier Woods, though, because he's more fragile.
That's true. That's true. But, Kofi's kind of pushing it as it is with all his magical stunts he likes to pull whenever there's a Royal Rumble or a similar type match. With all his acrobatic, ass-saving abilities.
And you know what I think was one of the best highlights in the match was the ref obviously couldn't tell the difference between Kofi and Xavier Woods when their tights are different and their hair is different.
Mm-hmm.
So how'd you like that one? That one, they referenced the Freebird rule, and 2, Xavier Woods helped them win the match by pinning Tyson Kidd or Cesaro.
It was good. Of course, it was kind of scumbag New Day.
But did you actually see them actually getting away with that? Like how?
Well,
like
the ref had his back turned and he didn't see that Woods kind of swapped in, and so he just went for the count and he didn't realize it.
Yeah, so I mean, that was pretty poor. But I gotta say, I love the reaction to finding out that the tag titles will be defended in Elimination Chamber. However, they already should have known that since it was reported that like about a week and a half ago.
Well, they're trying to make it seem like it's new.
Yeah, I guess just to hype up the pay-per-view in 2 weeks. Or
well, again, technically it's not a pay-per-view because it's exclusive to the network.
I know.
So
the special.
Yeah, that's really what these are pretty much now. They're not pay-per-views anymore.
Yeah.
Because at this point, yeah, if you're not watching it on the network, odds are you're illegally streaming it. Because nobody's really gonna
watching it on the few TV carriers that still provide it.
Yeah, the very few. So yeah, at this point, just start calling them like monthly specials or something.
But I can never forget the name of pay-per-view.
I don't think any of us will.
Exactly.
Okay. And moving on.
Wasn't this the John Cena match next?
No, next was Wyatt Ryback.
Ah, yes, Wyatt Ryback.
You know that match that Ryback might have injured a rib on.
Well, he did take a good shot to the.
Yeah, he got his senton splash like right onto the floor. So.
And don't forget, he then also hit, I think, the same side the rib was broken on that freaking.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah. And trust me, like I'm not exactly an athletic wrestler, but I know what it's like to hurt a rib, and yeah, it's a bitch. So. Ooh.
You know, it hurts more than just breaking a rib.
What?
Cracking your sternum, the front part.
I'm sure it does.
And pulling the muscles right there at the same time that are right in that.
I can thankfully say I've never had that happen, but I'm sure it would hurt quite a bit.
Luckily, since I don't walk, I wouldn't have to feel all the pain. But imagine just sitting in a wheelchair all day and you're trying to breathe or work.
Because Wheelchair 21 is more than just an internet name. It's his life.
I'm like a transformer. I'm more than meets the eye.
You're less than meets the eye. Well, you're less.
How dare you?
All right, let's move on to the Cena Rusev I Quit war. Because this is kind of what it became. Because they were just savaging each other by the end of it.
Oh, really? They were just savaging each other? Visible Ninja, please tell me the extreme vulgarities that have happened.
Well, okay, they weren't savaging each other, but let's just say they were sure the hell laying the hate on each other. Moves, counter moves. Rusev even preemptively asking Cena if he quit before he ran him into the freaking steps that he threw into the ring. That was kind of funny, I thought.
Oh, when he threw the steps at him?
Well, no, like a preemptive, like, do you quit? And like Rusev's not even touching Cena, and he's like, no. All right. Do you quit?
I like the other one when they got out on the table and Rusev got smashed with the back with the freaking.
Oh yeah.
He got smashed with the what was it? The TV screen, and after he got hit with that in the back. Like, he just was screaming, and, like, he just goes silent from the pain, and you don't even know what happened. That was hilarious, Metal.
Yeah, but it definitely was. But here's the thing, they're still trying to keep Lana as kind of a fixture in these matches, though. Almost like the focus, because...
Like, she wasn't even there, though, when he was getting hit with the TV screen.
But she was still there, but... Well, no, but she's still a presence, though, to the fact that Rusev actually had to go and tell her to sit the hell down because, the crowd was getting a little too excited that Lana was around.
And don't forget, Metal, that then after the laptop and table, we got the pyro.
The pyro. What? Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, that reminds me of that one time when, Orton tried to murder Cena with the pyro. And he almost did, but, Cena very timely rolled out of the way. And if he was like a millisecond later, he might have, severely burned himself.
Well, this time he didn't really severe burn himself. He just got hit with Goldberg pyro, so it's just going to sting.
It's like getting shot with rock salt.
It's so true.
It burns, but it doesn't really leave any lasting damage. But in the end, once again, like I said, Lana's playing into it because she was the one who had to call it off for Rusev, because Rusev's the kind of guy who would keep going until he's right, out of it, until he faints. So yeah, Lana obviously, was trying to seem like she's concerned for him, so she's the one who, threw in the towel. With Cena once again being the champ, and
you mean Padawan Lana with her little ponytail and bun? I thought I was watching one of the new trilogy movies with that hairstyle.
She did have an interesting hairstyle this evening.
I thought I was going to see her pull a lightsaber out of her Putin. Cena, you may strike Rusev down, but I will become stronger than the Force. Yeah, that's what we thought was going to happen. We thought things were going to escalate quickly. However, nope. Cena just decided to choke Rusev with a ring rope, and Lana.
Yeah, and again, that was pretty interesting too, especially when Rusev actually stripped that turnbuckle off and he was actually tightening it, getting ready to basically kind of try to take Cena's face off. Something you don't really see too often these days.
Yeah, I gotta say, the last time I think we ever saw a woman quit for a guy was when Bret Hart's mom screwed him out of his match with his brother Owen.
I don't think that was the last time, but I think that's probably one of the more notable times.
I probably is the most notable time, but I don't remember any other women causing a guy to lose in an I Quit match. Wait, maybe Melina,
I was
but I
gonna say,
doubt
didn't
it.
AJ do that once?
Nah,
Or
I don't remember.
I don't know. I might be misremembering because I think she did. I think that happened when she was with Ziggler, but I can't quite remember.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I might be remembering like a different situation that wasn't a night quit match, but
yeah, no, I gotta say, this was pretty goddamn hardcore and good enough. I mean, we didn't get blood like we got in the Ziggler match, but we got a little bit of blood. Cena's ear burst open somehow.
oh well, yeah, it's minuscule though. It's not like the rumored Lesnar blade job that we got at Extreme Rules.
No, that was actually at Mania.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Mania. Sorry. But yeah, bloody Sunday. Anyways, let's move on. What about the Divas match? Naomi.
Didn't care for it.
You did? Really?
Didn't really care for it.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of the lesser of two evils kind of going at it here. So.
Yeah, didn't care for it whatsoever. I found it to be very boring. The fact that, it had the Bella Twins. Okay, as I was trying to say, I was not really a fan of this match. I'm not a fan of the Bella Twins. I'm not really a fan of Naomi or Tamina as heels. I just had nothing really I could root for, except that it was a good women's bout. I just had no interest in the competitors in the ring at this time. Naomi, I feel, is better as a face. I feel she's better on her own. I don't feel like she needed to do any of this, but yet again, she's the replacement for AJ. But, I gotta say, her and Tamina as a tag team, really good force. They worked together, they worked effectively, and because Naomi's allowed to unleash better than AJ was allowed to unleash in the ring, I feel like it's gonna be a really effective team whatsoever. I really love the super kick, the rear view, all this stuff that they combine together, but it's a really devastating force. I do give them props. I just don't like that they're heels.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, the Bellas have to be face now due to the fact that poor little Daniel Bryan got hurt. And they're really going to milk it with the Bellas to try to get sympathy for them to turn them into faces, which I don't like. I don't like that they're milking, Daniel Bryan as a means to turn them face.
Yeah, it's something something I didn't really take into account actually. So sadly, I could see it. But here's the question: will they turn face while Nikki still has the title, though, or will she need to lose? Or do you think maybe she'll need to lose it to turn face?
No, they're already faces, but they're not. The crowd is not accepting them yet, I think.
Yeah, I guess you could argue that. I mean, I would argue at best they're tweeners since they haven't done any outright heelish things recently. So yeah, I'd argue they're tweeners right now, but yeah, it could go either way. So
I'm guessing we're going to move on to Neville versus Barrett.
Barrett Neville, yeah.
A great match, terrible ending. Until it, let that brawl after the match.
Mm-hmm.
Which, is, I think, more to hype them being in the Elimination Chamber. I feel like these two are going to be some finalists in the IC match at the special.
Oh, yeah, easily.
I love the one part where they were fighting on the ring apron, and Neville goes this moonsault, then he goes for a handstand, a handspring, a hurricanrana, and then gets kicked in the gut. I felt like that was one of the best coordinated moves in the match. I honestly think that was one of the best highlights, was when they were fighting on the apron like that.
Yeah, like you said, it kind of had a BS ending, so I'm hoping for a better resolution at Elimination Chamber. So
yeah,
if
there is any resolution.
Yeah. So I guess we're on to the piece de resistance, the Fatal 4-Way.
Yeah. Yes, we are.
So yeah, how about them Shield?
Well, I gotta say, I liked how the match picked up with Roman, Orton, and Ambrose kind of attacking J&J Security.
Mm-hmm.
I liked how, they were jumping off and suicide diving at each other. I liked how a lot of them were focused on getting rid of J&J and then going after Rollins. Then Kane spiraled in there, and then Roman and Ambrose had to deal with Kane. I gotta say, when the pseudo Shield reunion, the triple powerbomb happened, I literally just caught it right when Roman roared for the setup, and I looked and I saw the crowd going crazy, and I kind of sat there for a minute and go, man, I'm gonna have to go rewatch this match later because this, like, I literally looked away for like 5 minutes to grab something to eat and to do some minor editing on a video, and I look back and boom, everything's going crazy, and I'm like, what the hell? What is this? What is this? Oh my god, Shield reunion, Shield reunion. Shield.
Well, sort of, but yeah.
And then Roman and Ambrose, psyched out Rollins and beat him up, put him on the table, put Kane on the table, then put Kane on top of Rollins through the table.
Oh yeah, that was definitely a highlight. But it was kind of good that, let's just say the faces were good to take out J&J, because obviously they're, interfering little freaking gremlins, as it were. But then when Kane comes out, again, good choice to focus on taking out Kane, and then, taking out the little weasel in the group, which is obviously going to be Rollins, since, he's a slippery little bastard. But in the end, Orton got in his fair share of whacks there at the end with RKO's pretty much left, right, and center. Though unfortunately, he got reversed out of one and he got pedigreed for.
I didn't see the pedigree coming. I did not see it coming.
No, I didn't.
He actually locked it in. I was like, get the hell.
Well, I know.
Out.
I think that's kind of that's his tie to the authorities that he uses and trips his thing.
I will say though, Rollins needs, if that's going to become his new replacement, then that little sit out Buster thing, and the Triple H and the company is going to let him do it. Rollins better start adding some theatrics to it in a sense. Like he better start leaping up a little bit more. Like he needs to work on the implant. It was very, very tame. I think he needs to work on it more if that's going to become the new finishing move. I feel like maybe he should do what Christopher Daniels does and does a sit out where he lifts the guy up for like a double underhook powerbomb / pedigree like cradle, pile driver cradle, and then does a sit out of it. The term is called the Angel's Wings, as Project says in the comments below. But I forget there's an actual real term for it. It's I think they call it the 180 sit out face buster. But that's like the actual bullshit, like full on down to the source code. You know what I'm saying? Like it's literally the official terminology that they have in all the wrestling books. The names that you put out on it is just whatever the fuck you want to put to it. But that bullshit. It's like how a brain buster can be also turned into a jackhammer suplex, bullshit like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's all the whatever you want to call it. I gotta say, even seeing Triple H show up was kind of unexpected at the very end, dragging out Rollins, but then it kind of reminds me of what Vince McMahon would do with his corporate champion. So I see they're trying to, really orchestrate the authority as straight on, new age corporate.
Oh yeah, well of course it is. I mean, the pedigree, no pun intended, but the pedigree's there, and it's pretty much a shameless XP of the old days of the corporation, so... I mean, with a little less ties, because, their head isn't, the big boss, isn't like the big boss man, obviously.
You mean the ultimate power, or whatever?
Yeah, it's not higher power, it's...
The higher power.
It's a high, but not quite up there power. It's being headed by, the executive vice president in charge of talent relations and development. But still, though, it's definitely, the whole idea is still definitely there, though. And yeah, it was definitely, at least, like you said, like to both of us, it was kind of a callback. Yeah, to Vince pulling out, his favorite champion, kind of like The Rock was there for a while.
Remember that time when The Rock was his bitch?
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah. Remember that time he was part of the Rock and Sock connection? Pepper Charm remembers. Remember that time he told his high school sweetheart that he'd shove a whistle? Oh no, that was his gym teacher, sorry. That he shoved the whistle up his candy ass.
Yeah.
No, he told his high school sweetheart to check into the SmackDown hotel. That's right. I got them mixed up, but anyways, it doesn't matter. But in all, the match was pretty damn solid, I thought. It was definitely full, very, very chaotic, but in a good way. And of course, we got definitely some good old Shield nostalgia there.
Hey, all we needed were a couple of power bombs and a pedigree, and this felt like the Attitude Era.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I guess, so I guess in all, like, what would you rate this pay-per-view? I guess out of 10.
Well, the main event was a 10 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
The overall card, I want to be. I'm going to be very gracious on this one, and I'm going to give it a 7.5.
Ooh, burn.
I would give it an 8, but I'm still being quite gracious instead of not just giving it just a 7 or a 6.5. I'm going with just a 7.5. I feel like I'm kind of meeting my expectations in the middle.
Mm-hmm. Well, me personally, like, again, I enjoyed most of this pay-per-view. I mean, yeah, the end of the Neville Barrett match was kind of BS. The Divas match could have been better. But really, the rest of the card was fairly entertaining. And yeah, we got just a superb main event. So I'll be a little more favorable to it. I'll probably give it an 8. I mean, it was good, not spectacular, but, you know, hells yeah.
Yeah, so obviously it's a pretty decent pay-per-view.
Yeah.
There are some parts where you will be possibly bored. But you got, you know, an awesome I Quit match to look forward to, even though, you know, John Cena never quits. And you got an awesome Fatal 4-Way, which technically turned into a 7-man brawl for the WWE Championship.
Yeah.
But honestly, awesome, great, Shield moments galore. So, yeah, Payback looks really good. I can't wait to see what happens with the Elimination Chamber. I obviously know that we're going to have for the first time ever the Intercontinental Championship defended in the Elimination Chamber, where, you know, the vacant title will be awarded to the winner. We also have the tag titles that are going to be defended in there, which possibly could be the Freebird rule versus another 3-man tag. It might be none other than the Wyatt family. Or it could be a triple threat tag team. And people are guesstimating that what will happen is it'll kind of follow suit with TNA rules, maybe, where no one can be eliminated yet, or no team can be eliminated until all the pods empty. Which kind of makes sense, which kind of doesn't make sense. But also when you look at it, it also means that one team will have a good advantage, where most likely 2 members could be in the pod at once. Because you have 4 pods to match each of the corners of the ring. But we'll talk about that more when we know the rules on how it will be orchestrated and how it will actually work. So since Elimination Chamber is like 2 weeks away, it's time that we wrap up our show. And Visible Ninja, how can we find you on social media?
Well, as you can see, you can follow me on Twitter at Visible Ninja 1, on Instagram too, Visible Ninja 0, and of course check me out my channel on YouTube, Visible Ninja. I do toy and model kit reviews and do the occasional video game related video now and again.
Alright. I am Wheelchair21, the Common Roller, here on YouTube and on Twitter. My Instagram is Tadja_Doyle. WRW the podcast has its own Twitter at the same name. As well as you can check out Hirotaku and Rajo Nihon on Facebook and Twitter. You know, because heroes are among you, we're with heroes. You know, we protect our own, as the Reverse Flash might say. So, nonetheless, this has been our not-so-live show for Payback, and all the Payback coverage that we could obviously bring to you. And we'll see you next time with more WRW, as well as possible other programs that are not-so-live / basic weekly podcast related. So, yeah, now that we're on YouTube, you might have more programs out of WRW. But we doubt it.